More than 80% of the market of BTS is actually young. But you know who should actually listen to BTS? The parents. There is a reason the messages of BTS strongly resonates among young people, especially Asian kids. In a culture where emotional attachment among family members are so strong, sentiments, problems, and pains are usually held tight not because of fear of anger, but fear of disappointing their parents and family members. Everyone knows of the astronomical standards that the Asian parents set for their young Asian kids. You just have to excel in everything: academics, sports, arts, the choice of company that you keep, and the relationships that you will pursue. Everything has to be the best. Often, life is already designed for these children even before they get to live it. This results to misunderstanding, sadness, distance. But BTS actually manages to become the voice that this Asian kids don't have. They manage to articulate many of the sentiments. And if parents will only take the time out to also understand the message behind the narrative and the message that lies beneath the melodies and the beats and the costumes and the music videos, there is going to be a whole lot more of understanding between parents and their kids. And boy, the things that we can avoid if only there's that. And so here are 10 things that young people hear from BTS, but they should also actually hear from their parents. Number 1, they don't need to be the best in class. They just need to be the best of who they are. There is no denying that Asian parents are expecting their children to be academically excellent. But the fact is that not all children are actually interested or good at academics, and there is no shame in that. Their interest may be in the arts or in sports or in other things. They may not be academically smart. They may be street smart, which actually may prove to be even more useful. So there has to be an understanding and openness that if the child does not excel academically, that's fine. There he has a strength, and people should the family in particular should help the kid in finding what that is, instead of forcing them to become what they're not. Number 2, to be kind is better than to be successful. Really, there are so many ways that success may be defined, and the worst of it is through awards, material gains. The best gauge of success is really one's character. So if you're able to raise a kid that is honest, kind, considerate, that child is already successful from the get-go. As cliche as it may seem, having a beautiful heart is really way better than having the best looking house and the best cars and all of the awards that every award giving body can ever give. Number 3, it's okay to fail. It's normal to be sad, and you can expect that you will get hurt at some point. Children should never be shamed for failing, and children should be appreciated not just for the victories that they bring home, but for just trying. We're not teaching the children to be mediocre in anything that they do, but they should not be shamed for not being the best. The same way, they should not be shamed for being sad. Because quite honestly, there is so much glamour. Happiness has been so glamorized that it feels like when you're not happy, you're a failure. And it should really stop, because no one can be happy 24/7. Children, especially young women, my God, they should understand and they should know that that's normal. It is okay not to be happy all the time. The most important thing is that you're aware that even if you're sad, even if you're miserable, you have to go on. Number 4, people will hurt you, you will hurt others, and worse, you will hurt yourself. There is absolutely no person in the world that is not capable of hurting other people. Children should just learn and understand that just because somebody disappointed them or hurt them in some way, it doesn't make it unforgivable, and it doesn't make that person bad. They did something bad, it doesn't mean that they're bad. In the same breath, children should know that they should not allow themselves to be continuously hurt by the same person, because that's just abuse. But the same way, the children, will also eventually hurt other people, whether they like it or not. And the worst of what they have done isn't who they are. As long as they have learned their lesson, make apologies, try to repair the relationship, then it should be okay. And of course, not do it again. But there is always that possibility, and probably the worst possibility is that they will hurt themselves. But as long as they are aware of it, that it is happening, and that they should do something about it, then it should be okay. Number 5, dreams don't need to be grand. Whoever said that you have to be the CEO of the biggest company in the world, or win several awards, or win the Nobel Peace Prize, or be the number 1 singer in Billboard Hot 100 or whatever, whoever said that you need international recognition or to be revered by your peers, no one should say that. For as long as you're happy pursuing it, whatever it is that you're pursuing, if you want to be a teacher in an unknown province, or a police officer in a small town, there is no shame in that. If you're living a life that makes you happy, that should be okay. Number 6, although mistakes have consequences, love is unconditional. Children are often scared of their parents' anger, not necessarily the punishment. But what breaks their heart is really when they see that they have disappointed their parents, or that they have angered their parents. So it drives them to be secretive. If they do something wrong, they'll share it with somebody else, but not with their parents. If only they are made aware that even if they suffer the consequences of their action, but the love doesn't change, that you still love them even if they have done something bad, then the bond is going to be stronger. Children are going to be more open to their parents. Number 7, don't get trapped in someone else's dream. I think many already know that it is very common for Asian kids to be conditioned to make their parents proud. Usually they take the path that their parents took. So if you come from a family of doctors, then you're going to become a doctor. If you're going to become a family of if you came from a family of lawyers, then you're going to become a lawyer. We often forget that this child has his own experiences. He forms his own opinions, and he has his own wants, and he has his own dreams, and their life should be lived for them, not for other people. Their life is not to make their parents proud, or not to be something that their parents had become. Their life is their own. Number 8, lying to you is one of the worst mistakes they will ever make. Children are usually scared of disappointing their parents, of breaking their parents' hearts. That's why they keep secrets, especially when they've done something wrong. But if children are made aware that one of the worst things that they can ever do, one of the things that can really break your heart is lying to them, it's going to promote and encourage them to be more open to you. In other words, I think honesty should be rewarded and encouraged. Number 9, know when to give up. This is actually one of the most unorthodox messages I've ever heard from any kind of personality, because most often people are going to encourage you to go through and push through whatever it is that you're pursuing, whether it's a relationship or an ambition or a job. They're going to ask you to continue pursuing it until you have nothing else to give. But this one specifically, this message from BTS actually makes sense, because when we run down whatever it is that we're pursuing to the ground, we often break it to the point where there's nothing else to salvage anymore. So let's say it's a relationship. We try to make it work and make it work and make it work until we have nothing else to give, until we're so exhausted and we hate each other so much that there's absolutely no way we can ever salvage it ever again in the future. But if we only know when to stop, if we only know when to say, okay, let's probably break up at this point. But that doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, even just friendship. If we can just say, let's take a break from each other while we don't totally hate each other yet, then it will give us an opportunity to actually go back to it when we're both ready, when you and the other person are ready and still have something in there. It's not broken to a million different pieces that you're not able to salvage it anymore. Especially if you're quitting because there is the intention of eventually salvaging it and going back to it. There is an unexplainable and unbreakable bond between children and their parents, between family members in general, as long as the same DNA is running in your vein. But we also have to remember that there is something pure about choice. So if you choose to love somebody even if you don't have to, there's something pure about it. But even on this planet, the most sacred of relationship is not blood relations. It's between two partners, whether it's a man or a woman, man or a man or a woman or a woman. If they choose to be together, for better or for worse, that is the most sacred relationship that this planet holds. And so we have to recognize that there is something sacred about choice. So the children have to also hear and be assured that even if you're not blood related, you will still choose to love them and be committed to them, just because that's how love works. So yeah, those are the 10 things, and there's a whole lot more. We can spend the entire year just talking about it. But I hope that there is more effort in trying to understand young people. The older generation has the tendency to view and look at the issues of young people to be something juvenile for obvious reasons. But the fact is that it is important. Whatever a young person considers to be important is important, because that's going to influence the decisions that he's going to make, that will shape the future that he will live. So I hope there's a bit more effort to understand what these young people are thinking, how they feel, and what they want.